Right, hello, welcome back to the channel. As you can see, I'm in the Crescent 1 on the coast again. The reason I'm down is I've done further modifications to the tent, and I was going to showcase them slightly, but the weather, I left, when did I leave Poole? I left Poole this morning, got the bus, walked down here, and the weather just turned. It was going to be like this between 2 and 3 o'clock. It didn't, it was about 11 o'clock it started just chucking it down and blowing a hoolie. Not to worry though, I could have showcased the stuff, but I can't because I need the front open and stuff, and to show you, I can show you some of the bits that I've done in here, some of the mods that I've done. But I've had a little bit of an incident straight away. The cheap tents that you get, the zips at the bottom, they don't put zip stoppers on them, they just wrap the material, the bias binding they call it, round the bottom of it, and that's what they use to stop the zip going down. So here I'm in here, I've put the zip down, just forced it down there, and it's come off the end, and I can't fix that out here in the middle of nowhere. So what I've done is I've crisscrossed the tie points that's on there, because I did fit extra tie points, so I've crisscrossed them over, and I've used the secondary zip, because it's got two-way zips on it, to zip up the tent. Now, if it gets any more windier, and it is quite windy, it's to be 20 to 30 mile an hour winds, but as I said, that was until 2 o'clock. We are now, yeah, we're nearly at 3:30, so I'm waiting these winds coming in. They might be happening now and I'm just missing it, but anyway, that's by the by. So yeah, that's a bit disappointing that I broke the zip on there. I'm a bit more disappointed because I normally build in the little clips on it. I put little clips going across to stop that from coming apart in high winds. So that's something that I'm going to have to do on this weekend, basically, get it all sorted out. Right, so that was my intentions, coming down here and showing you what was happening. It's now, as I said, it's about 3:30. Today I've got my RAB Neutrino 600, which goes down to -12, so it's cracking sleeping bag. It's starting to show its age slightly though. It's got a lot of cold spots in it. I've got the old thermal rest with me, taking no chances. If anybody's seen my last camp, I froze. I was absolutely Baltic. This video is due to go out on the 30th of November, which is St Andrew's Day. So I've went all Scottish on the cooking, so I've got some traditional Scottish food with me. Haggis, basically. So I'll be cooking that up later on and having a haggis, neeps and tatties. And then in the morning I'll be having the obligatory Scottish roll with bacon in it, and maybe a wee egg if I can be bothered. Yeah, so the modifications, hopefully I can show you tomorrow morning, but I'll just run, there's one you can see here. So last time I was in the tent, with the vents are here and here and they're open. These are now closed. And I've stuck a little zip on them. You just tuck them away in there, and that's the vents open. That one's closed down there, and I swear the vents that were there before, the wind would come underneath the tent, it would just blow straight in. It was blowing an absolute hoolie in here, but no longer. So you can seal the vents off. Yeah, so I'll show you the door tomorrow. Hopefully the weather will calm down a little bit. In fact, let's have a little look. Maybe not. So the weather tomorrow, yeah, today it's still raining. I've got fog coming in. It's just really foggy here. And then it's rain all night. And then it's to clear up through the night. Oh, and yeah, tomorrow it's to be sunny. So tomorrow, tomorrow I will showcase all the wee bits and bobs in the morning. Right, gonna get some food on the go, I think. bit of cover on this. That's the worst thing about this tent is the doors down here. So cooking, I'm going to leave it, the bag on here in case the smell in. Ventilation wise, there's tons of air coming through there. Don't even see that. I'm not picking up the focus. My big heating it. Yeah. Yeah, not bad at all. Veggies are a bit al dente, but yeah, it was a stewing pack and it just did not want to break down at all. Usually mash them a lot. So you'd mash the carrot, potato, and turnip or swede. You mash it all into one, and then you get a peppercorn sauce and throw some whiskey in it, which I did. Gives it a nice homely flavour. It's an acquired taste. Not if you're Scottish, it's not. It's a required taste. No, it's an acquired taste. Yeah, I don't know how the tent performed in the high winds. And I fell asleep. I slipped through it again. What is going on with me at the minute? My attention span's really short getting those little sandfly things that I jumping about. Yeah, I'll need to wash up tonight. I don't want the little rat coming back tomorrow or pruning out. What I don't like doing is keeping the food in the tent, because I have an experience where creatures have gnawed through people's bathtubs just to get to the food. Quite good. I hung my alpha fleece up outside the tent there, just in the porch area, and it's dried. Got a little rag up there. Yeah, it's still wet. Yeah, that's not too bad. I don't think many people, well, some people do. St Andrew's Day, when we were in the army, there used to be inter-company competition where everybody would get dressed up like Braveheart. Your morning starts off with gunfire. So gunfire is basically tea, or was it tea, or was it a... Oh, I know what it was. It was like oats soaked in water, and then the oat milk is infused with whiskey. And then when they couldn't do that, they couldn't find a chef to do that, they used to just put it in the tea or coffee. And the officers would go round every soldier and give them a mug for breakfast. In their beds, usually. And everybody got dressed up in their clans. And it'd just be a pure day of silly sports activities. Kids silly, tug of war, rugby. All that sort of stuff. But it was really good. It was a cracking day to celebrate. Even our English cousins, they would dress up as well and take part. A wee bit of cheese with crackers and a nice wee ruby port. Well, that warms you up. Right, and a couple of wee ports and some biscuits and some fine Asta cheese. It's the Christmas stuff they've got out there now. It doesn't even taste like cheese, it's a bit weird. It's supposed to be Wensleydale with pepper. Did not taste like that at all. But anyway, got a couple of ports left in the bottle there, I'm going to have them, and then it's gonna head down for the night. So if anything happens, hopefully the wind's sort of done now. I can relax about the door flying open in the middle of the night, but if not, I'll deal with it when it happens. But other than that, I shall see you all in the morning. Things that sort of was the knock on from the zip busting. So when this zip went, it lost tension here, and this sleeve slid up the poles. You couldn't really tighten it anymore down here because it would bust the zip again, and then you ended up with this sort of divot that was in the material here, and that's actually touching the fly inside. So what I'll probably look at doing is putting a hook, just a 10mm hook over onto here and both sides of there. I did look at it before. I did notice when the wind was blowing on it, it did sink in quite a bit, so that's just confirmed I'm going to do it. The zip itself, I'll just undo this. I'll show you the part which I'm talking about, which failed. So that tiny little bit there, so the zip just came straight down. You see it's nicked to material. If you can see that, nicked to material and came off. So yeah, I'll look at changing over the zips. Other little things that you've got a lot of water pools in the top of here. It just doesn't have that slope. It hasn't came through. There's been no leaks in it, but it's just basically sitting on top of the tent, which could be a bit of a worry if it was snow. And overall, this side of the tent, because you can't tighten it up with the zips, very loose. Didn't flap about that much that I noticed last night, but you can see the marks on it there and on here, and particularly around this side as well where it's got wet. Is what happens with sill nylon when it gets wet, it sags. So I mean, the simple thing is you just go around and you cinch them up, you just tighten it up in the morning. That's if you're staying for a couple of days. But you can see how much it's went down from yesterday's pitch. This side not so much. One of my other little concerns is this gap here. And you can see a bit of water on the fly sheet there, but you can see a bit of water on the bathtub where it's been forced under. It did chuck it down last night. I didn't record any of it, I just listened to it. Again there you can see quite a bit of slack. Again, you would just cinch it back up again, and then that's just stopped that part sort of fluttering about. And this part here, yeah, probably have to move the pegs back in this one a wee bit too close, but that's all you would do there. I'm not going to bother because I'll be packing up in a minute. Yeah, so that's what's caused that. Is definitely we're not having the tension and the broken zip it's given us this little concave area here, which I'm going to have to look at and fix. Right, for those who haven't seen the previous modifications, I'll just quickly run through them and then I'll show the new ones. So, first thing I added was a double pole. So I've double poled it by using these little feet that you can get from the 3FUL website. You don't need to stitch, they just loop on through the original ribbon that's down there. So the same pole, identical size poles in there. I think they're 8.9, I'm not too sure, but I'll stick it on the screen. Quite easy to put through these sleeves. This side of the tent is absolutely fine. Other side, as I've probably spoken about before, got a slight issue with the broken zip. Down here, you had, this is original, on this side you just have had a loop. So what I've done here is I've added another little cinching cord here so you can cinch this side up. This is to allow you to open this side as a door, similar to the other side. You can open that as well. Okay, looking at the tent in its current form, you have this isn't a door and the other side isn't a door. That part there was the door. So what I did was I put a little piece of elastic here that allows you to cinch the door back a bit. So you can do that on this side and on the other side. And inside you have quite a bit of a porch area now, where if you use the centre part, you would only really have this little area here. Right, so this part of the sheet here, this is an add-on, so I've added this on. I can actually adjust this further to the left if required, because you're cinched at the other side with little cords like this. They're on the opposite side, so if you remove them or loosen them off, you can actually bring it further so you can have a bit more of a porch. I didn't really go for it last night because the fact it was getting late and I am on a bit of a slope here. But that's the area you've got there, so you've got a ground sheet that covers the porch if required, which you can adjust again. Didn't help with this door breaking, because what I would have done with this would put it in a separate peg so you can cinch it back when you're cooking. I was using the Trangia, it's fine on here, it's high enough off, it won't melt it. However, if you knock it, you could probably spill fuel and you could have caused a fire. I did realise that after I was finishing cooking last night, so not a great idea. Should be able to remove these backs, but that's unfortunately what happened last night with that zip breaking. That I couldn't get this off without the whole zip coming undone. Right, very quickly, so this is the door. What we had here before was mesh. You can see I've fitted a couple of toggles here and a toggle there, and I put the same material on. I've thrown a zip on there and a zip here so you can open it up and open the vent back up. Again, I've just used normal sort of clothing zips, which ain't great. I should really spend the money and get some plastic zips, ones more for tents. These ones are metal teeth on them, and you can see there I've already caught the mesh on here and chewed a little hole in it. So you can roll this up and tie it up when you're not using it. That loop there, that was added as well, and that's basically it on the inner. That's all I've added to it. But that there last night, so I closed this off and the two vents, they were closed off. and my God, did it steam up in here. You can see it already, it's starting to steam up. It gets really, really hot in here. Nice to see the sun out. I'm just watching, there's a, I don't know, we used to call them like sparrowhawks, like just sitting there hovering and gliding about. It's amazing down here, the amount of wildlife. You'll get the deer trudging through at 4 in the morning. I've got my little friends, the coastal rats that keep popping into the tent and borrowing stuff and leaving little parcels lying around. I had it again this morning when I was clearing out. Just in the porch area. There was no food there. I did wrap it all up last night. But typical, sun's out now, so I'm going to leave the tent there for a little bit. Try and dry it out. It did get saturated yesterday, so it was the rain coming down. As soon as I put it up, it just rained non-stop. The spray off the sea just kept hitting it. And then last night it chucked it down for about, I think, 2 o'clock to 4. No leaks in it, absolutely fine. My only concern about it at this point is water does pool on the roof of it. There's a flat spot on there, it's not running away. I think that's a case of giving it a little dink from the inside when you're in it. Now that I've got the vents all closed up, the only way I could describe it last night, it felt like a bit of a coffin. It's really tight in, so the inner of that tent goes right up. I mean, I can sit up in it, even on a mat, I can still sit up. It just feels very, I would say, claustrophobic. If you're claustrophobic, it's probably not the tent for you, but it's something I'm prepared for. The porch area is fine now. The back area is the same size as the porch. I can lay all my stuff in there. I probably need to bring the actual inner this way a bit, so when I've put the tent together, you can release the back to slide it across a bit, so it's more this side of the tent. Sorry, the inner is more this side of the tent. The ground sheet, the same, you can release the back off and bring it that way a bit. My biggest concern obviously was the zip breaking last night, but I will go back, I'll probably put it in this video, I will fix that tonight. I will put the little clips and the straps across. I haven't got time to replace the zips for waterproof zips. I would do that. We're off to Scotland in a week's time, so this was my last sort of run out with it. Just test it out so I don't go up there and there's any sort of disasters, because a disaster on the coast here, can live with. I'm only a 30-minute walk to the car park, so they can pick us up. Up in the hills of Scotland, not so much. You don't want to be calling out people because you've had a disaster on that and then you've tried to walk home or walk back down the hills in the snow and stuff. Don't want that. So it's a good time to get it tested out. There is a few, I would say, flaws in it that I'm going to fix. The pegs and stuff, I will have probably what they call groundhogs. I've got groundhogs in the house that I'll be using up in Scotland just to keep it pinned down. But I'm determined to give this tent a good run out in some really challenging and difficult weather. Right, if you get any questions about the little bits and bobs I've done in the tent, or anything you want to know about the tent, just stick it in the comments below. If you want to see how the tent performs in Scotland, again, subscribe to the channel. That video should be out in about 2 weeks' time. Okay, that's enough for me. I'm going to head away up to the car park and get picked up with Sandy. I'll see you all again soon. Take care, everyone.